we're going to look at Oxy. And here on the weekly chart, the first thing that's going to stick out to us is that the volume of this week has already surpassed that of which we had a full week of last week, which was 5 trading sessions compared to this week where we're only at 3. So we still have 2 more trading sessions to go, but we already have more volume, albeit it's only about by a million. But still, we have 2 more trading sessions to go. We are beating the volume this week compared to last week. So that is something to keep in mind as we're looking at Oxy here on the weekly chart. If you look at basically across the board, all the other stocks that, I mean, these big, strong stocks, the volume is not there as it was last week just yet. Obviously, it's still going to be just as high. That's kind of what we expected with the big drop over the weekend, the big lows that hit on Monday. We knew that the volume was going to be just as high just because there's so much volatility because of all that. But it's interesting because Oxy has already surpassed the volume this week of which where it was from last week in 5 full trading sessions. So that's something to keep in mind as we're looking at Oxy here on the weekly chart. RSI down here oversold. So perhaps if we get a little bit more volume, a little bit bigger of a push in here, then this RSI will start to kind of come back to where it was relative to its mean, basically over the past, let's see, if you go all the way back to last year, really about 47 is kind of where it always was, is kind of your resistance up here for your RSI. And we're currently sitting down here and we're at like 34. So really we got about a 13-point swing for our RSI to come back and hit that resistance in there. So reverting back to the overall average or mean, you're about 13 points off from your RSI. So perhaps a little bit more volume coming in this week with our next 2 trading sessions can push us higher in here, get that RSI just a little bit higher so we can start working our way back up to this $40 area. Now, what are we looking at for our resistances and supports? Well, support here, if we have our 0% fib, that's going to be the lows that we printed this week. That's going to be at 34.78. So that's going to be our main support down here that we're going to take it or keep an eye on. Anything below that, whole numbers, 30, 25, stair step your way down just by 5. Anything below 34.78. If these 34.78s do hold, which I think they will, then our resistance that we're going to look at, the first one is going to be up here, 43.85, and then above that, next fib level, 49.46. On the 9-day EMA is going to come down here and kind of meet up right around this 43.85 level, depending on how long we stay within this $9 channel here between the 34s and the 43s, and do a little consolidating down here. So that's going to be something to watch as well. Now we're going to work our way down. We're going to go to the daily chart in here. What sticks out to me right here on this chart, this candle engulfed this one right here. So it looks like we are confirming that these supports have held, and it looks like that we may get a nice candle in here tomorrow as well. But again, it's all going to be news based. If anything, we'll kind of consolidate up here and suck out some volatility. You also have support down here right around that $37 level from that doji we printed on Monday. So 37 is going to be an immediate support if these 40.23s do not hold. Now, we also have a couple gaps here on the daily. So you got a gap to the 43.85. That's what we mentioned as our fib level earlier. And then you have a gap up here right around that $48 mark. So that's going to be something that we have to watch here on the daily as we're kind of stair stepping our way up to that $50 level. But again, it's all going to come down to, are we going to hold the support that we printed in here today? And then if we stay above the $40 level going into tomorrow, are those 40s going to hold? And if we go down into the 30-minute chart in here, you can see basically Oxy did exactly what all the rest of the stocks across the board did today. A little bit of volatility this morning, consolidation, and then boom, just a big rip off of the tariff news with the 90-day pause. So again, overall, what are we looking at in here long term? Well, 43.85 and then 49.46. That's your next 2 resistances. Support's going to be that 34.78 in here. But really, if you want to tighten up to the immediate support, it is going to be that $37 level. And then that 43 is going to be your next resistance. So you have a little bit of a channel in there to watch and play with. Unusual options activity happening here in Oxy as well. You had that 425 expiration. So it's a weird off weekly expiration. It's not a monthly, right? So it's weekly expiration about 3 weeks from now. And the 42 calls in there had around 4.7 thousand of those traded today. So that's something interesting to watch visually if you want to see where that kind of is. Here's about 425 right in here. And then your 42s are going to be right around in here. So everybody's pricing in that unusual activity that we're going to rip up to about right here, about $2 before those next 3 weeks. So that's what everybody is playing on. Everybody's betting. But again, we have to kind of hold those $40 ranges first before we kind of get up there. So that is how your unusual options activity is looking as far as this stock goes. IV ranking here 69, $2 expected move by this Friday. Next Friday, right around $3. Your May expiration, right around $4. And your earnings cycles coming up. May 7th is when OXY is going to be reporting earnings in here. So all those things kind of keep in mind as we're watching. Again, it's all going to be news based in here. But all in all, good day. Volatility went down a little bit. Look for more of a contraction tomorrow. Let's see if we can hold the $40 range. Maybe we can work our ways up to those 42s maybe by end of week and see where we go from there. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you're interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.